The world is telling you out there that you have to be good at one thing and not the other. Who sold you on that lie? If you really want to make success happen for you and you really want it to last, you're going to have to change it. Now I want you to determine whether you're in an empire or you're actually in a prison right now. So the first one is, my team makes high-level decisions confidently because they know our standards. Is that you? Or is it a prison? Everything waits for my approval because I'm the only one who knows how things should be done. Empire or prison? I have leaders developing leaders. My people think like owners. Prison. I have followers who wait for permission. They do exactly what I tell them, nothing more. Someone could buy my business and run it without me. Everything is documented. My best practices live in my head. Good luck to whoever tries to replace me. Are you leaning more to the prison or the empire side? If you have more of the prison boxes, you need to learn how to delegate, but there's some fears that come with delegation. And we're going to talk about them today. Okay, so we're going to talk about the operator versus owner gap. Okay, the operator says, I'll do it myself. Okay, it's fast in the moment, fast now, expensive later. Slow in the long run. You win the day, you might. You do things right, it's to your standard, your expectations, you learned it, but you lose a year because you're stuck doing those things over and over and over again. Okay, so high quality but low capability. There's only you. We talked about 24 hours in the day that you have, plus you have to sleep, plus you have kids, plus you have a spouse, plus you have all of these things. How much time do you really have? And can you maximize that time? Okay, so the quality might stay high because you do it. It's up to your standard, but the capabilities stay slow because no one else grows. Okay, it's really important to know that. Burnout is guaranteed. Okay, burnout is guaranteed. Burnout is coming. You feel needed all the time, it's great. You feel fulfilled because people need you, but also that's not leadership, okay? If you really want to truly be a leader, you're going to have to learn to use other people. And you're like, might think, hey, well, I don't know if I can trust these people. I don't know if they care enough. I don't know if they're gonna mess things up. Well, you're gonna get burned out. You're not gonna find, any joy in what you do. We talked about the busiest employee, right? You don't want to be that. So what does the owner say? I'll build a standard, teach a standard, and inspect the standard. This is about building the right culture and the right systems around your culture. If you think about culture and you can't systematically say how it works, then it is not real culture. Clarity over chaos. Clarity kills chaos. When people are unclear, it is chaotic. You might feel like you're moving a little needle. You might stay busy. We talked about being busy. Busy equals broke. You might feel like you're doing stuff, but you're not really scaling at the level you need to, okay? People grow when you delegate. People grow. When you decided to build your business, you're like, man, I want to build a business. You didn't think about, oh my gosh, I'm going to be putting out fires every day. That wasn't your goal. But that's what you end up doing by default when you don't learn to delegate, okay? So that's a real fear. It's like thinking, hey, if I train this person, they might go work for the competition. Yeah, they could. They could. But what if they stayed and they don't grow? What does that do for you? What does that do for them? Now, I was talking yesterday about somebody that has an employee that basically was looking for another job. And it really, really hurt. It really hurt that person because they're like, man, I spent a lot of time training this person. I say, you know why it hurt so bad? Because you trained them from here. And you let them watch you from here. Everything that you did came from you explaining and them watching, and you spent all of this time. You've never documented what you're doing. You don't have any SOPs written that if somebody were to come, they're so valuable if they leave you because you did everything, all your processes and everything exist in your head. Now, if somebody leaves and you have everything written down and you're actually documenting what you're doing, somebody can come in, they learn it, they do it. It doesn't hurt quite as much. That is a form of golden handcuffs when you do that. Okay, and this is what most business owners do. And that's why losing a key employee hurts so badly, because you're pouring your whole heart out in everything, but you're pouring from here and here, and nothing is from here. Okay? So I invite you to start writing down what you do. Do not become so vulnerable. You're going to have to be able to duplicate. The only way to duplicate is by documenting the standard. So start doing that. Most entrepreneurs have spent years building a reputation with excellence, precision, speed, and quality. So when they delegate, they fear, what do they fear? Sloppy work, missed deadlines, slower pace, inconsistency, loss of identity. Okay? So delegating feels like you're risking everything that you put your whole life into, and you don't want to let it go. And that's a problem, because it won't allow you to get to that next level. Okay? But the root cause isn't delegation, it's unstructured delegation. So I'm going to give you the steps on how to release control correctly. Okay? Is there casualties in everything you do? Yes. Is there risk? Yes. But with this, I'm going to show you how to have the minimum risk that you can possibly have. That is my goal. Okay? Now, nothing is guaranteed in life, but I'm going to get your odds are going to be very, very good if you do it this way. So most leaders hand off tasks without handing off standards. What's your biggest fear about delegating? Why don't you write it down? What's your biggest fear? Is it anything that I said? Hey, that reputation, losing that reputation, they're not going to do it right. Sometimes we take things back really fast. We're going to go into all of those things, okay? But what are you afraid of if you let go? Think about that. If you were to let go of something, I have a lot of spouses that work together, husbands and wives. And the thing is that the wife is stuck doing all the shit that the husband doesn't do. It happens. It happens. Oh, I'm not good at the CRM stuff, or I'm not good at the follow-up, or I'm not good at checking up on the customer. I'm not good. And they give it all to them. And the wife spends years and years and years doing all that shit work. But then all of a sudden she feels useful. And then she doesn't train anybody else to do it. And as the business grows, she's like, oh man, but I'm the best one to do it. And I don't know if I can let go. And she hates it. She hates it just as much as he hated it. And she has all these ideas and all these things. And her highest value of work is not in calling clients all the time or checking or setting appointments. It really isn't. Because she's grown and matured just as he's grown and matured in the business, but she's stuck doing those lower level activities just because she has a fear that somebody's going to handle a client wrong or whatever it is. That is the bottleneck. I'm going to be completely honest. Andy was the dreamer. I handled a lot of shit. Also, because I did not know how to delegate, I also held back our whole team in sales, in every department. It was me. I was a bottleneck because I did not trust anybody to delegate all that stupid little shit. It held sales back and everything else. He could not implement anything that he was creative in implementing because of me. Because I had that fear of letting go. So I started nerding out on this. Like seriously, I'm like, how can I lower my cortisol levels because I'm gonna freaking kill myself? And also, how can I find joy and get more creative and stuff? If you haven't seen, like, I didn't really used to talk to the business owners or anything. I don't really care about social media that much. I'm not really into that. I love teaching. I love pouring into our team. I love leadership, but I never spoke about it. Why? Because I was doing all of that stuff. There's so much inside of all of us that we can go and learn a new level because we need to learn how to delegate. And the thing is that I teach a lot of business owners. I've helped scale a lot of business, and I feel like I do a pretty good job. But I wouldn't have never been able to talk to you guys if I would have held on to those things. Okay? So what's the next level in you? Like really, think about it. You might think right now, I can't do it. Oh, we don't have that. Yes, I started doing it because we didn't have the money when we first started to hire all of these people that were specialized in the skill. So I had to learn it. Not because I wanted to, but I needed to. But if you're not letting those things go, it's like having the same freaking enemy, but the enemy is you and your delegating power that you have, okay, holding on to stuff. So how to release control correctly. I'm gonna give you a 4-step process that protects your standards and not just releasing control and lowering them, okay? Step 1, document the standard. If you can't write the standard, the team can't follow the standard, okay? The process cannot exist in your head. It's very simple. I have this very big thing that I discovered, and I was like, man, I've got to get really good at this. Define what done right means. What is done? What does done mean? Finish, but finish is different. Finish is different to you than it is to your employees. Because when you hand off a task and you tell them to do something, they're like, yeah, I did it, but that's not done to you. Like, there's another level to done. So I had to get really good at that, right? So instincts cannot be trained. They're like, hey, well, this person should know better. I told them to follow up with such person and, they just sent a text message. They think they followed up, but a text message, you're like, man, that's not following up. You send a text message, but if they don't respond, you call them. If they don't, you do this. You set up an appointment. You go and check this way until you get this. Like, what is your definition of done? You should know what that means. You should train that, okay? Because your expectations and other people's expectations are completely different, okay? You have to know what that is. So, what's the perfect sales process to you? Step by step. Do you have that written down somewhere? What's a perfect script sound like to you? How many no's do you get? What do your objections sound like? All of that stuff. Do you know exactly what that means? When somebody calls somebody and they get something, like, do you listen to your phone calls? I had one of our coaches, and this was freaking brilliant, and I'm going to share it with our team later. So we have our calls recorded. We have our calls recorded on attention. And this coach did this. He loaded his last 100 calls onto attention that he got, and he said, where am I missing the it factor on my calls? I was like, holy shit, this is freaking brilliant. And it told him exactly what he's doing on his calls, where he's losing the confidence and the sales ability and his objection handling, all this stuff. And I was like, holy shit, I need this right now. It's so awesome. Like, we're going to train on this, by the way. It is freaking, I think everybody needs to do it. That was brilliant. I'm going to show it to you guys. It's crazy. It teaches you how to coach your people. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh.
By real data.
Yes. So do you have your stuff documented? Do you know what the perfect sales process looks like and how it fits your team by their personality and what their weaknesses and strengths are?